register in the UK. Also facing professional misconduct charges are Professor John Walker-Smith and Professor Simon Murch, but the impact of the MMR research has already extended beyond this. Despite the scientific community repeatedly stressing that the vaccine is safe, there has still been a crisis in public confidence. The uptake of the triple jab slumped in the immediate aftermath of the study being published. If you look at the Edge News website tonight, I've put some scientific studies that demonstrate the MMR vaccine to be a significant causal factor in autism. Note though that these studies are consistently ignored in the medical establishment's publications, claiming that there is no evidence for vaccine-caused autism. But don't forget, this will be the approved scientists, the scientists who will go along with the pharmaceutical companies, and anybody who don't go along with those companies ends up in the newspaper like this report. Also in the headlines this week was a link between pesticides and Parkinson's disease. The article says there is strong evidence that exposure to pesticides significantly increases the risk of Parkinson's disease. A study published in the BMC Neurology Journal has made the link to the neurological disease. The US researchers found those exposed to pesticides had a 1 in 6 times higher risk after studying 600 people. Experts said it was now highly likely pesticides played a key role. The disorder, which normally develops later in life and can affect movement and talking, is also influenced by genetic factors. Severe gene defects have been identified, but these are thought to be rare and only account for a small proportion of the 120,000 people affected by the disease in the UK. The US team, which involved scientists from Duke University, Miami University and the Udall Parkinson's Disease Research Centre of Excellence, quizzed 319 patients about their pesticide use. The answers were compared to over 200 family members and other controls who did not have the disease. Related individuals were chosen as they would share many environmental and genetic backgrounds in a bid to isolate the impact of the pesticides. They found those exposed to a pesticide had a 1 in 6 times greater risk of developing the disease. Heavy use, classed as over 200 days exposure over a lifetime, carried more than double the risk. And the study also revealed herbicides and insecticides were the pesticides most likely to increase the risk. Lead researcher Donna Hancock said, "I think there is a very strong evidence now linking the two. What we need to find out now is how the biological process works." She said, "What we noticed in our research was that recreational pesticide use in the home and garden was more of a source of exposure than occupational use. But occupational use was still a factor." Kieran Braden, Director of Research at the Parkinson's Disease Society, said the link had been recognised by earlier studies, but this study strengthened the fact that pesticides play a key role. I found another article that can link into this article, because they know that pesticides can cause these kind of disorders, but they still carry on doing it even through the protest of the people. Like the case in California, where the government's going to aerial spray over the cities to kill the apple moth. I'll read the article. The light brown apple moth may not be a crop threat as portrayed by the state and federal agricultural officials. According to some scientists, and with the health risks as stated in the Parkinson's disease story. I added that bit. The scientists also warn that the aerial spraying of a pesticide over Californian cities may turn out to be an expensive, unnecessary public relations nightmare doomed to fail. The US and state agricultural development departments support a £74.5 million programme to spray the pesticide over hundreds of square miles as early as this summer. But several of the state's top insect and plant scientists say the decision to do so should be reconsidered. It's not such a nasty pest you're going to see a plant succumb to. The light brown apple moth, said botanist Daniel Harder, executive director of the Arboretum at UC Santa Cruz, visited New Zealand to research the moth's behaviour. He said the plan is to completely eradicate the moth in the 12 countries statewide where it has been trapped, but the plan won't work. The pest has been there so long and is so widespread that they don't have the tools or the monitoring technologies that are up to the task to eradicate. The apple moth took up residence in New Zealand perhaps a century ago and is not considered a pest there. They find an occasional light brown apple moth on apricots, kiwi apples, persimmons and citrus, among other plants. Although it has been recorded on the crops, it is not a significant pest. No eradication measures have been taken against the moth. A pheromone is only used to bait traps to monitor the presence of the insect. In New Zealand, the moth is kept under control by using natural enemies, insecticides and other measures. There is no reason to believe it's going to be more of a problem in California than any other native moth. Earwigs, birds and spiders will eat the pest. The moth larvae look like another tube of meat to them. But in the face of criticism, the US Department of Agriculture and the California Department of Food and Agricultural Scientists stand firm that there must be a quick aerial spraying to eliminate the moth, which they say is newly arrived and those larvae threaten more than 200 crops in the state, worth millions of dollars. Nursery plants and native trees are also at risk, they say. But thousands of Bay Area residents have signed petitions to stop the aerial spraying. Legislators have introduced 5 bills to control aerial application over urban areas, and 4 city councils have passed resolutions against it. Hundreds of residents in Monterey and Santa Cruz countries, where pheromone pesticides were early sprayed last year, have reported health symptoms including shortness of breath, muscle aches and sore throats, and citizen groups are asserting that the government failed to disclose all the contents of the 2 pesticides and that safety testing has been inadequate. This is the first time the pheromone based pesticides is being sprayed over cities. But as we know, it doesn't matter what the people want or think. This democratically